Some days, even the simplest tasks feel impossible. Motivation disappears, focus fades, and effort feels heavy. This isn't laziness. It's the brain signaling shifts in energy, reward, and stress. Neurochemistry, habit loops, and mental fatigue all play a role, silently influencing how drive rises and falls. Understanding the science behind motivation loss reveals why it happens and how small interventions can restore momentum when it feels completely gone. Today, we will talk about the brain science of motivation loss. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. Understanding motivation loss. Motivation loss often feels like an internal shutdown, but it has a biological and psychological basis. The brain's reward system, particularly the dopamine pathways, plays a critical role in driving goal-directed behavior. When dopamine signaling is disrupted or diminished, tasks that once felt engaging or rewarding suddenly feel draining or pointless. External pressures, repetitive routines, and overstimulation can also blunt motivation by overwhelming the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for planning, focus, and executive function. Additionally, chronic stress, anxiety, or sleep deprivation affects brain chemistry, reducing energy and cognitive clarity. This combination of neurological and environmental factors explains why motivation can fluctuate independently of desire or discipline. Understanding the brain science behind motivation loss helps reframe the experience, not as laziness, but as a natural response to internal and external influences. By addressing the underlying mechanisms, individuals can restore engagement, focus, and drive, creating sustainable pathways to productivity. 2. The dopamine connection. Dopamine is often called the motivation molecule because it regulates reward anticipation and goal-directed behavior. Low dopamine activity diminishes the brain's perception of reward, making even simple tasks feel effortful. Modern lifestyles contribute to dopamine depletion through overstimulation from constant notifications, social media, and multitasking, which provide fleeting rewards without sustained satisfaction. Without sufficient dopamine signaling, the brain struggles to initiate action, reinforcing feelings of apathy and fatigue. Recognizing the link between dopamine and motivation allows individuals to implement strategies that restore balance, such as setting small, achievable goals, taking breaks to recover cognitive energy, and engaging in activities that naturally boost dopamine, like exercise, creative work, or novelty seeking. By strategically leveraging dopamine pathways, motivation can be revived and sustained over time. 3. Prefrontal cortex fatigue. The prefrontal cortex governs planning, decision-making, and focus, but it is highly sensitive to cognitive load and stress. When overtaxed, the brain struggles to initiate action or maintain sustained effort, contributing to motivation loss. Decision fatigue, long work hours, and mental overload all impair prefrontal function, making tasks seem overwhelming or unworthy of attention. Motivation wanes not because of a lack of willpower, but due to neural exhaustion in the regions responsible for prioritizing and executing goals. Strategies like structured planning, cognitive offloading, and time management help protect prefrontal resources and restore the brain's capacity to engage effectively. Understanding this mechanism reframes motivation loss as a solvable cognitive challenge rather than a personal flaw. 4. The role of stress and cortisol. Chronic stress and elevated cortisol levels directly impact motivation. High stress signals to the brain that resources should be allocated toward immediate survival rather than long-term goals, suppressing interest in tasks that require effort or delayed gratification. This is an adaptive response in evolutionary terms, but in modern life, it manifests as procrastination, avoidance, or burnout. Cortisol also affects dopamine pathways, further diminishing reward sensitivity. Techniques like mindfulness, meditation, and stress management practices reduce cortisol, restoring balance in the brain's motivational circuitry and allowing focus on meaningful goals. 5. Habitual patterns and motivation. Repeated behaviors shape neural pathways, creating habitual patterns that influence motivation. When habits reinforce effort and reward, the brain develops efficient circuits that support action. Conversely, habits of avoidance, procrastination, or low engagement weaken these circuits, making tasks feel daunting. Motivation loss is often a symptom of misaligned or underdeveloped neural patterns, rather than lack of desire. By intentionally cultivating productive habits, breaking maladaptive routines, and reinforcing small successes, the brain recalibrates its reward system and strengthens pathways that support sustained motivation. 6. Emotional and cognitive factors. Emotional states like fear, anxiety, or self-doubt can hijack motivation. Negative emotions activate the amygdala, the brain's threat center, which prioritizes safety over goal-directed behavior. Similarly, cognitive distortions, such as perfectionism or catastrophizing, make tasks feel overwhelming, reducing the likelihood of initiation. Motivation loss in this context is a protective mechanism. The brain perceives potential failure or stress as a threat, discouraging engagement. Addressing these emotional and cognitive factors through reframing, self-compassion, and manageable goal setting restores motivation and reduces internal resistance. 7. Sleep and energy regulation. Sleep is critical for cognitive and emotional regulation, yet poor sleep quality dramatically reduces motivation. Sleep deprivation impairs prefrontal cortex function, disrupts dopamine signaling, and increases amygdala reactivity, making tasks feel harder and less rewarding. Fatigue reduces persistence, focus, and goal-directed behavior, creating a cycle of inactivity and low motivation. Prioritizing restorative sleep and aligning schedules with natural circadian rhythms supports brain chemistry, energy, and motivation. 8. Environmental influences. The brain responds to its environment, and external factors can either enhance or drain motivation. Overstimulating or chaotic environments increase cognitive load, distract from goals, and amplify mental fatigue. Conversely, structured, supportive, and stimulating environments promote focus, dopamine activation, and engagement. Adjusting workspace design, limiting distractions, and curating motivating inputs help the brain maintain energy and commitment toward tasks. 9. Strategies to reignite motivation. Understanding the neuroscience of motivation provides actionable strategies. Breaking tasks into achievable steps, tracking progress, rewarding effort, and incorporating novelty stimulate dopamine and enhance prefrontal cortex engagement. Mindfulness, stress management, exercise, and structured routines protect cognitive resources and reduce emotional interference. By addressing both neurological and environmental factors, motivation can be restored and maintained, transforming periods of stagnation into productive momentum. 10. Turning understanding into action. Motivation. Loss is not a personal flaw. It is a natural consequence of neural, emotional, and environmental factors interacting. By understanding the brain science behind motivation, individuals can implement targeted strategies to restore engagement and energy. Recognizing dopamine pathways, prefrontal cortex fatigue, stress influences, and habitual patterns allows for intentional interventions. Through structured routines, mindfulness, restorative sleep, and small wins, motivation becomes manageable, sustainable, and self-reinforcing. Knowledge of the brain transforms perceived unpredictability into actionable control, empowering individuals to reclaim drive, focus, and purpose in their daily lives. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.